Hello everybody, and we have been absolutely jump scared by Hot Toys and Sideshow with The Last of Us, I assume Season 1, Joel Miller, because it doesn't come with a second head sculpt of a puddle. Now, this, I have a feeling, is going to be a controversial figure. I have just got off playing Red Dead 2. I went on Instagram just to see what the vibe was, and this pops up on my screen. Now we're just going to roll into this. This is basically first reactions. Now that head sculpt, easiest way I can describe this is this feels like a So-So Toys head sculpt. It's not that there's anything wrong with that, it just feels like it's a teeny bit underbaked. The textures aren't fully there, and that hair looks really chunky. Like the strands of hair don't look like strands of hair, they look like clumps, and that's the easiest way I can describe that. But I will say this feels almost like their Mandalorian Season 2 head sculpt with a new paint scheme and a new set of hair. That wouldn't surprise me. I'll need to get out the Chrome Mando to have a look. At this moment in time, I haven't seen it. This is basically just a first reaction. Now, the tailoring on the suit looks incredible. It looks like a guy in his clothes. It looks like Pedro Pascal. The clothes move off him nicely. The articulation's going to be great in this. That's going to be fine. The accessories look great. The swappable eyes is an amazing choice. That head sculpt, though, is a bit brutal. It feels really soft. It feels really round. He almost looks younger because they haven't went overly textured on this figure. I don't know if it's because they're going to do a season 2 look where it is 1, a puddle, but 2, even more textured, so that I don't know if they're trying to bounce it that way. Either way, he looks a lot younger here than he does in the show, but there's actually quite a lot of accessories with this. And for $285 or £217, I think those are the numbers, but I've got screenshots of the prices there because he's already up for pre-order, he's already ready to go. There's actually quite a lot here, and there's actually quite a lot of stuff I like. Now, there looks to be some pleather pieces on his holster and such, which I'm not the biggest fan of. It's going to degrade over time, just like Joel does, but we're not going to talk about that. I think is a representation for a 1/6 scale Joel Miller. This is going to be actually quite a good figure. They haven't went the game route, they went the show route. Probably easier to get right, easier to sell. I think that's quite fun. The rifles look good, the guns look good. It looks like a fun figure, but I know for a fact that the fact that you can see the wrist pegs and the fact that you can see that head sculpt is going to get dogged on so quick. Despite that, though, I'm going to say this with gritted teeth because I know it's going to get backlash, and even I'm looking at it going, ugh. I don't mind. I do mind it. I do mind it. I hope this gets changed. This is probably the worst one I've seen in a while. I'm not going to lie. But the accessories, especially with the light up torch, I don't know if that's going to be LED USB lit or if that's going to be button cell. Either way, that's going to be a really fun accessory, especially with dynamic shots. I'm interested in buying this figure. Obviously, we'll get a Bella Ramsey figure as well. That'll be fun. Joel and Ellie, we're not just gonna have one, I hope, and maybe we might even get some clickers and stuff and some zombies. That'll be fun. But yeah, this is the head sculpt is the biggest point of contention with me. If I don't know if it is just a first glance reaction, but there's certain angles like this one specifically right here, it feels really underbaked. The expression, I understand, we've seen Pedro Pascal use this before. It's a somber, concerned look. And the watch being there's nice to hide that wrist peg, but you can't hide both. But it does feel like a third-party head sculpt. It doesn't feel completely premium to me by the looks of things, especially with that hair. That hair it almost looks like he's got gelled spikes in because of how solidified the clumps of hair are. It just needs a teeny bit more time in the oven. Now, further away from shots like that, it looks really clean, it looks really solid, and the fact that you can see blood on the knuckles, the fact they've done weathering to the hands, I think is a really nice touch. And he comes with a lot of accessories, which I think is their way of selling it. But the clothes look realistic, that's really nice. The boots look realistic. I don't know how well the articulation's going to be. I don't know if they're going to use the Daredevil style of articulation where they're really soft. I think it's PVC that they use, so you can articulate a full boot, or if it's going to be split cut. I cannot tell, I'm legally blind. But so far, this is going to be a struggle bus for how... I should have checked the comments. I bet the comments are brutal on the release. But I'm getting the feeling, especially with the bigger Sideshow tag there as a watermark, that this is more Sideshow focused than Hot Toys. That could be complete speculation because Hot Toys also released this on their social media. That's where a lot of these portrait photos are from. but it is making me speculate on who had more of a hand in this process. I will say though, I do love The Last of Us, both the game and the show. The story's fantastic. If you want a really hot take, I absolutely adore Part 2, or The Last of Us 2. We're not going to talk about the HBO show though, especially the second season. That's not for me to discuss. I'm barely researched as a figure collector, let alone a show guy. Yous can deal with that in the comments. But yeah, $285 there. I think that says 85. I am legally blind though, so we'll not talk about that. But yeah, it's already up for pre-order. It's already good to go. I can't remember off the top of my head if we saw too many hints of this. I don't know if it was at Secret Base anywhere. I don't know if they're just releasing this now so they can do more reveals at Sideshow Con, or I don't know if it is for Sideshow Con, because that's coming up soon. You can register to get some freebies and all that fun stuff now. I am not sponsored. I wish I was. It would make life a billion times easier. But yes, I don't know if they're doing a load of the releases now, so when you get to Sideshow Con, you get really good visuals there. So it's kind of like shooting your load a little early. But you know, that happens to the best of us, especially as you get older, gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, 217 quid, honestly, for British folk, that's pretty decent. I don't know what 285 is like in Freedom units. I don't know if that's a good price for you guys, especially for what you're getting, especially with that head sculpt. I'm leaning towards a yes, though. I'm leaning towards this being a really fun figure, as long as that head sculpt gets tweaked, because certain angles, this is horrendous. Like, I can see it. I can see the vision. I can see Pedro Pascal in that head sculpt, but it feels like a cheaper third-party figure of that. So it feels like you've gotten your own Hot Toys body, like, down onwards, neck downwards. It looks like a solid figure. It feels like a solid figure. It's just that head sculpt feels like it's a custom body almost. It feels like a custom figure, and it needs some love. It needs some tender love and care, and you know, maybe a golf club or two. But we'll not talk about that part. You've got to let me know your thoughts, guys. Am I overreacting to this? Am I being way too harsh on this? Hot Toys getting a bit of a reputation for faces at the minute, that they're not going too well. They're a bit of a bad streak. I'm usually more forgiving. I usually quite like them all. One of the worst recent examples was the Ahsoka Anakin. I actually really liked that. I had it on pre-order. I just had to cancel it because, you know, I'm buying too many things at once. That's a whole issue for another day. But I feel like this is going to be in that ballpark of what the hell are we doing here, guys? But yeah, you've got to let me know what you think about this. And if you really want, you can let me know what you think of the show and how it's probably one of the worst drop-offs in shows in terms of from season 1 to season 2. But once again, not talking about that. But no, I'm excited to see where this figure goes. I'm excited to see if they touch up this figure. I really want to see an Ellie as well. I think, because you can't really just have one without the other. You really do need two. Now, if they did a 2-pack as well, I'd be down for that. That'd make a lot of sense. But that being said, I think it's time we stop dogging on this figure. God bless it. I'll stop Abby in it. Anyway, guys, this is a super interesting release. Interesting timing because everybody's dropping out of season 3. Interesting time because Fantastic Four's coming out. Maybe it's the hype for that, but who knows. Anyway, I'm going to love yous and leave yous. A lot of Hot Toys content's probably coming out the next couple days because Sideshow Con's coming up soon. So much love, like, subscribe, give me the watch time. Tell me what you think of HBO's Last of Us, and don't get hit by a golf club.